Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And today we have to talk about why do I keep saying get your assets, ladies and gentlemen? Because we have inflation. We're going to go over it and what you can do about it because you can't keep waiting. And welcome to Foci Optics. Check. Stop Struggling Now gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it.
All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here on the Stop Struggling Now YouTube channel page. And once again, we have to share the videos. Why? Because we're trying to help thousands, if not millions of other people, because this is what we're going to talk about today once again. Why I'm talking about always acquiring assets in 2021. Once again, to clarify, assets pay us. I go buy a house. I get a mortgage. I live in the house. That is not an asset. I buy a house, put somebody else in the house, and they rent from me, and I rent at a profit. That's an asset. All right? Quick clarification. You buy a fourplex. You rent out all four. All four pays for the mortgage. There's money left over to pay for where you live, and there's still money left over. That's an asset. There's reasons why you need that right now, and before I forget, please hit the join button over here on the right hand side. This is how you become a member of the channel, and under the community tab you get special messages, and you get 1 or 2 videos per month from me, and you can do members only chat on Wednesday night lives. All right, now the reason why I'm saying this is that you cannot underestimate what has been happening over the last 12 years. The economic system in America has been broken for a long time, but you would not know that nor realize that because you're going about your life happy, not thinking anything of it. But what the silent killer is that's taking away your money, as you guys know by now, I'm going to keep saying it, is inflation. All right, so as long as I can make you believe that inflation is low, i.e., Fed chairman talking like these articles you see on the screen, once again, you're going to be led to slaughter. So therefore, you have to get your assets now, the assets that pay us, no matter how you do it, whether that's your brand that you're going to try to create, if that's a business you're going to try to start, if that's investing in gold, silver, precious metals, commodities, electricity, energy, I don't care what it is, but you got to invest in assets. All right? I'm showing you on the screen now. As you can see, 2 days ago, he was all full of the FUD as usual. Feds, Powell plays down inflation threat. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have to play their game and act like we're ignorant. Anybody can go pick up books and start studying economics. Anybody can know that if I have $100 and I spend it all, and then I sit there and get money from out of thin air, and I have $100 again, and then I tell the person next to me, I'm going to tax you more money now to pay me back, give me that $100. That's transfer of wealth, ladies and gentlemen. All right? So when somebody's telling you that inflation isn't no big deal, we will not raise rates on inflation fears alone. Ladies and gentlemen, do not believe this garbage. Inflation is here. All right? Meanwhile, you're going to buy groceries, you're going to buy food, clothing, trying to get your education, trying to get your car worked on. You know prices are out of control. And this clown's up here talking about there's hardly any inflation. Before I get past this, we're going to get into those numbers. But that illustration I was talking about earlier, when I got rid of my $100 and then I go to my neighbor and said, hey man, I got to tax you more money so I can get back my $100, and I didn't do a thing to get it back. I didn't work for it. I didn't get nothing, but he's going to have to pay more money to give it to me. Okay, he's going to have to make more money to give it to me. Does that make any sense to you guys? Come on. All right, here's the United States Airlines getting bailed out. So this is a perfect example of the transfer of wealth I'm talking about. They get to post $116 million profit, right? Well, there's a funny thing that happens. I'm going to see if I can find this real quick. I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to. But what if I told you that they got $1 billion? Okay? What if I would have told you that the airline industry got $64 billion? That's right, you heard me. Who do you think's paying for this? You didn't vote for it. You are, though. You're paying the taxes for these guys to get to $64 billion. Without Southwest's share of that aid and other temporary items, they would have lost $1.72 per share. All right, to $1.82 per share. Now, again, if you don't think you need to get revenue coming in the door, additional streams of revenue, additional assets, then I have a sorry feeling that 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you're going to sit there and go, man, I wish I would have listened to that guy on Stop Struggling Now. All right? Just that guy on YouTube, he was saying this for 2 years. Now, here we are again. Now, I'm no fan of Deutsche Bank, the bank laundering company of the world, but Deutsche Bank used to be one of the largest banks in the world. And these guys know that they printed money. They know they've been suppressing commodities, silver and gold and precious metals. They know everything that they've been doing to manipulate the markets. And finally, the guys in Europe, these guys, global time bomb coming due to rising inflation. You see this, ladies and gentlemen, gas prices, no biggie. That's energy, all right? But you have to think, sooner or later, there's going to be an implosion. And I want to point out something else. The Deutsche team said the coming inflation will resemble the 1970s. In case you're not familiar with the 1970s, inflation was like double digits. Interest rates for cars and stuff like that was 15, 16, 17%. All right, if you were trying to buy a car. Food prices were off the charts. That's what they're talking about here, and quite frankly, they should know, because they know every country has printed money like it's going out of style. And we're going to get into this right here too, is the fact that $5 trillion more, $5 trillion more, and the feds have doubled their balance sheet, just shy of $8 trillion. Right, the Fed is buying up debt. So we have $5 trillion, $8 trillion. The $5 trillion, which prints out of thin air, means once again inflation's going up. So think about this. If $2 trillion out of thin air equals 13-14% of the total money supply, so wouldn't you do 5 times 13, which means 75% or 65%? Somewhere in that neighborhood is going to be the total money supply printed. Doesn't that mean there's going to be inflation, and that means the money that's already in existence is going to be worth less? What do you think is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? It's not rocket science. Here we go again. Wall Street Journal. U.S. inflation is highest in 13 years as price surges. Of course, we have options here, ladies and gentlemen. I know right now you might be thinking, okay, Eric, we know this. You've talked about this before. How do we combat this? Well, again, you're going to have to get yourself some assets that pay us, assets that pay you. Start doing it right now. Slowly but surely creep up into making extra streams of income. Extra income has to come in your door. You're not going to be able to survive when they're printing up 50, 60, 70% of your total money supply in less than 1 year. Not going to happen. 5% in a month, ladies and gentlemen. Not a year, a month. Keep in mind, the month of May was 3%. Here's June. This was on June 10th. So just to give you an idea, prices were surging in May, in June, early June, and like I said, everybody's been to the grocery store. You know what time it is. All right? So I just want to keep showing you. This is what they give you right here. Who thinks they did 1.8 when you already know that in 2008 and 2009 there was a bailout? Trillions of dollars. They've been printing money this whole time. So do you really believe inflation is 2% or less? We know it's not. There is no way you can buy the same thing from 2 years ago for the same price. 2% really? So $1,000 is now $1,000.02? Come on. Come on, man. This is craziness. All right? This is getting to be ridiculous what they're doing out here. All right? 10% of 1,000 is 100. So 2% is what, $20? So you really think you can buy something from 2 years ago and it's only going to cost you $1,020 now? That's absurd. All right, come on. Now, I just wanted to show you what this chart is showing. This chart is showing 5% in 2021 thus far. All right. Guess what? It's more than that. And it's not hard to figure out. But this is a chart from the U.S. inflation calculator. How convenient. We know where they got this information from. Right? It's going to keep rising. So don't be shocked. And here we go. The deal. $1 trillion. At least they're saying there's a deal. Right? So now what do we do, ladies and gentlemen? You tell me. Put something down below in the comments. What are you going to do to combat this $1 trillion, which is going to be roughly seven, what is that? 7, like I said, 7%, 8% of all money supply. I misspoke earlier because 2 trillion is actually 13 to 15% of all money supply. So 1 trillion has to be 6.5 to around 7.5, $8 trillion. I mean 8%. So right then and there, if this actually is a thing, your taxes are just going up further. Prices are going up further. And how are you going to win? This is how we're going to win. I'm going to go to Investopedia. Here we go again with 9 assets for protection against inflation. Never mind the real estate is what I've been talking about lately. Never mind, we don't know what's going to happen with crypto during inflationary times. That's yet to be determined. But here's what traditionally in the past you have done. Gold was always the place you go. You put your money in gold and silver during inflationary times because the gold and silver and precious metals increase in price. That's what I've been trying to get you guys to understand, and that's why silver has doubled in the last 2 years. That should tell you what the inflation rate really is. All right? Gold, on the other hand, has only probably went up by, I haven't really looked at today's prices, but roughly about 40 to 50%. But still, in 2 years, 40 to 50%, and then you see a chart that says, oh, well, it's only 2% inflation. No, it's not. 50% would be 10% inflation every year. All right? Here goes commodities. Some of you may not be familiar with commodities. Commodities is like energy. It could be just like they have it here. what do they say? Grain, precious metals, electricity, natural gas, foreign currencies, orange juice, beef, oil. That's commodities, okay? They go up. That's why when you go to the grocery store, prices go up. That's why your electrical company will say prices are going up. All that has to do with inflation, all right? But if you invest in these type of companies, there you go. Grain, precious metals, electricity, oil, beef, orange juice, natural gas, foreign currencies, emissions, and certain other financial instruments. Let's get real. Financial instruments means banks at this point because they love inflation, right? 60-40 stock and then a bond portfolio. Yes, this comes into play in the old days. People would buy bonds because safe and you get like 2% on your money. But in my eyes, people may have different opinions. List them down below. But my eyes, if I'm only getting 2-3% and inflation is 12%, that doesn't do me much good, right? So that doesn't work. Real estate. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. During inflationary times, guess what goes up? The assets, real estate goes up, whether it's residential or whether it's commercial. So once again, you know what we've been talking about, trying to get our hands on some no credit check, no qualifying, nothing on my credit report real estate, which is that pre-construction condos, Mexico, Miami, Dominican Republic, and anywhere else they have pre-construction where all you have to do is put down 10% and then pay monthly during construction, and then upon delivery of the unit, then you will owe your money. And because inflations go up, proper real estate goes up during inflation, wouldn't you like to lock in today's prices and have something built for you 2 years later? Now you have appreciation automatically before you even step into it. You also now can borrow against that asset, otherwise known as a home equity line of credit, or simply a line of credit. And now you go invest and you'll be able to buy other properties using other people's money and money you didn't have to work for. The appreciation of real estate happens astronomically in inflationary times. So if you can borrow money at a low rate, call it 0, 1, 2, 3%, wouldn't you be winning if inflation is 12% or 10% or 15%? And then you'll be able to charge people in that inflationary environment the rent, which now means you'll be up way above what you owe. And then because inflation keeps rising, you'll be able to borrow again if you so happen to have more than one property. All right? So that's where real estate and REITs come in. And I was talking with the guy today about Fundrise. And Fundrise, because you're in a fund, you gave them your money. So even if you gave them $5,000, let's say, and they're returning you, I'll keep it generous, which they don't do 10% every year, but I'll be generous and just say 10% on average. So you get $500 a year. Now, have you thought about it? I know there's some people listening to this that have invested with Fundrise, but have you thought about, you can't take your $5,000 out. You can't liquidate it if you needed it or wanted it. You also have a situation where you could have just put your money in a dividend stock or an index fund or bought yourself some gold and silver. If you're going to have your money locked up, then earning 10% on your money, is it worth it? To some people it is. But to me, I'm like, you have so many options out here. Why lock up your money? Like, you could have bought yourself some real estate. There's FHA loans at 3.5% that you could have bought with the 640 credit score and up, that you would have access to multifamily property. You have options. So I don't understand why you're going to buy real estate and put yourself in that trust that's only going to give you anywhere from 8% to 11%, and they charge you fees, and it's locked. When you could have just left it anywhere almost and have your money locked up and still earn 8 to 10%. Real estate income, that's what I'm referring to. You see it right here, because you can always change the numbers with the real estate. Energy goes up, water, gas, sewer goes up. Okay, well, your rent has to go up $30, $40, whatever the case may be, right? Barclays accurate. Here we go back with the bond indexes. And then, of course, we're going to get on to something, leverage loans. This is what I was talking about again. This is why Fundrise loves the 150,000 investors, because they just got a leverage loan for $300 million from Goldman Sachs, which the 150,000 people have nothing to do with that $300 million from Goldman Sachs. You're not getting compensated. It's a loan package. But that loan package that Fundrise is going to do, they're going to go build up some townhomes and multifamily type properties where they're going to be making some money outside of your guys' fund, whoever invested in Fundrise. So you got to keep that in mind. They leveraged your investment to go get this big dog money. And now they're going to build a neighborhood. I actually know what they're doing. I'll try to explain here. They're actually going to be building townhomes and homes in communities. They buy up the land. They're building it from ground zero. I don't think they're going to include the investors in that, because that has nothing to do with your investment into their funds. That separate loan that they received. So that's what they were able to do. They collateralized the loan using the 150,000 investors to buy those properties that you all invested in, their myriad of funds. And then they went to Goldman Sachs and said, see, we have 70, 80, 100 or whatever. I don't know how much millions of dollars worth of assets they have, but they get to collateralize it, leverage it, and go, well, we have $500 million worth of properties. Can we get a loan? Sure you can, because you have revenue coming in as well. And the people that are in Fundrise or any other company, there's other companies besides Fundrise. And here's tips. Somebody asked me about this tips the other day, and it's a Treasury inflation protected securities, and it's nothing more than a bond. And the thing is, these bonds, they're like here we are here. 5-year, 10-year, and 30-year is what a bond, that's when it matures. So you have to understand what this is. This is different, because unlike a normal bond, you could actually lose money. But this bond right here guarantees that your investment is safe, and if deflation happens, you don't lose. If inflation goes up, then they give you a percentage. But see, this is 5-year trailing return of 2.45%. I'm not liking that. I don't know who would. Anything that's like this, 2%, 3%, 4%, when inflation is off the charts and your money's locked up, why would you? It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe somebody can make an argument for why you would lock your money up and only earn 3%, 5%, 8% on your money, just to say it's sitting somewhere. And I'll remind people, your money doesn't know where it's sitting. But you are going to be affected by not making enough money and not making your money work for you enough. So with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, I went on longer than I wanted to, but I just wanted to illustrate these are the options that you can use. I'll have links down below to all of this, including this Investopedia, where you can see what people invest in. But the bottom line is, you got to get your assets, ladies and gentlemen, no matter which way you call the asset, whether you're on renting cars, I don't care. If you're doing Airbnb, I don't care. If you're renting your condos, houses, outhouse in the back, I don't care. But you need to get extra streams of income. If you're utilizing what I talked about the other day, go to Airbnb. If you go take people around and do cooking classes, go jogging, use Airbnb experiences and get people to come in when they're visiting the city to come join you, and they'll pay to join you. You're doing yoga, you're doing fitness, you're doing all this stuff. Why not monetize yourself? And then you have still all the social media platforms that are free. So with all that said, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here. And that's why we have to go over this time and time again. Because that easy money that everybody likes, where you're going to we talked about for years, where you can get your credit and then build up your credit and then borrow against your credit, that's all fine and dandy. But the problem's going to come in where if you're not making enough money and inflation keeps going up, it's going to cost you more money to buy items. So now your loans or any money that you owe is going to start being a little more against you, because you have to look at it this way. We'll lay it out in numbers. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you make $3,000 a month. You're sitting there going, well, I have all this credit and I'm paying $500 to credit. Okay. Then all of a sudden, your food, energy, and all that cost, it just went up an extra $200 or $300. Do you not think that that's going to affect you, because now you still have to pay that $500, but now you owe $300 more, or you have to buy groceries, which costs another 20%, 30% more. Energy costs 20-30% more. Gas 20-30% more. All that adds up. So now that $3,000 starts shrinking, because you're taking $200, $300, $400 that you didn't have to spend before, have to spend it now on the same thing. And so now it puts a little more pressure on you if you don't have those extra streams of income coming in. So hopefully you understand what I'm saying, and I want to thank you again for being here. So keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.